The question is, do I have a God complex? I am board certified in cardiothoracic medicine and trauma surgery. I have been awarded citations from 7 different medical boards in New England, and I am never, ever sick. You ask me if I have a God complex? Let me tell you something. I am God.
Because your words are powerful. What you say out into the universe, what you say will come to pass. It's how it comes, you never know.
I don't believe in all that stuff at all.
I do.
And even mentioning stuff like that on TV, you're getting it.
That's the difference.
If God is with me, nobody can be against me.
Yeah, because I speak and believe and receive. We speak and believe and receive. We speak and believe and receive.
All that stuff you just said, you're already beat.
I wanna say Alhamdulillah, God give me everything. Alhamdulillah. I know you got this, you don't like this. Alhamdulillah.
Key to living the law of attraction. Constant repetition carries conviction. I like take from them and just put my own thing to it. You know what I mean?
What happened to you? Wake up, USA!
When I retired from boxing, get ready to meet God.
Once I'm in the ring, I'm a god. No one could beat me.
Hello! When a man comes to a conscious, vital realization of those great spiritual forces within himself and begins to use those forces in science, in business, and in life, his progress in the future will be unparalleled. Bruce Lee. Have you ever noticed how not just every fighter at the top typically has some form of spiritual connection, but almost every successful individual? It may be through a religion, believing in God, which through that authority allows one to feel empowered to believe in oneself. Or maybe you resonate with the law of attraction, to believe in oneself through that paradigm where instead you are the creator, not the outside forces. There is always an exception to the rule, but the same can be said about the quantum physics used to operate your phone and computer. It is not a tangibly understood phenomenon, but the patterns of behavior can be tracked and leveraged into the technology that lights up our world today. This is an example of how we cannot see or understand everything, but there is some truth in what appears to consistently work. The same can be said about the many forms of spiritual connection that people who feel magic then leverage it. They often find themselves doing just that, and there's no real way to prove it tangibly because we cannot see or conceive all the cogs in this reality with our limited human perception. It's perhaps similar to how we cannot see nearly as many colors as a mantis shrimp, who with one glance could see the cancer growing with just their eyes, or how the average population cannot think through the same paradigm of a savant. Vice versa, we don't have the aptitude, the biological foundation necessary to fully encapsulate everything that is happening in front of us. But like our smartphones and computers, you actually don't have to. You don't have to know everything in order to leverage it to your advantage. That is the consistent truth of this reality, the truth of your spiritual connection. No one can prove it tangibly, but no one can disprove it tangibly all the same. All we can do is observe the people who feel it and realize they are typically accessible to things that those who deny its call aren't. And there are many rationalizations for every instance. We always skeptically attempt to debunk the magic that occurs in our lives, but often the reasoning finds itself full of just as many holes as the magic itself. Let's take evolution for an example. I believe in evolution. I believe that regardless of your spiritual beliefs, this is an understanding that should resonate with everyone, as it is something that consistently holds ground when we observe reality. But then, why don't people who are religious believe in evolution? It is because it contradicts their texts. It conflicts with what they believe in, but what if it does not have to? Say you believe the Earth was created 6,000 years ago, which is absurd if you understand either physics or evolution, but now consider the mainstream narrative explaining the universe, the holographic universe theory initially coined by Gerard Thooft. This appears to be the most logical explanation for the universe today based upon our extrapolations, observing the patterns through which the universe behaves. A simulation.
There are these incredible pictures that contain all the information of a set of equations that are related to string theory. Buried in them are computer codes just like the type that you find in a browser when you go surf the web. And so I'm left with the puzzle of trying to figure out whether I live in the matrix or not.
Operations of nature leads you to a set of equations that are indistinguishable from the equations that drive search engines and browsers on our computers.
That is correct.
Maybe we're in the simulation Have you thought about this? And
A lot. I seem to follow that the odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
Much like World of Warcraft, a simulation, Warcraft cannot exist without a computer rendering the packets of data from a server. If there were no computers to receive packets of data, World of Warcraft would never render, Warcraft would not exist. The same phenomenon is observed in our universe. In a conversation Abraham Pais had with Albert Einstein, the moon does not exist when no one is looking. It turned out, Abraham Pais was right. Discovered by the Australian National University, Andrew Truscott stated that measurement is everything. At the quantum level, reality does not exist if you are not looking at it, which is too reinforced by the double-slit experiment. Innately, if there is no conscious awareness measuring the universe, you cannot render the universe. Now, World of Warcraft, we humans made this game, this simulation 14 years ago. Thank you, Blizzard. But is it possible that a character or a lore exists that is much older? The Draenei D-Knights are upwards of 25,000 years old, thus, even though the game is only 14 years old, a story or evidence within that game can expand into infinity based upon the developer's or creator's desire. Now, say the Earth is 6,000 years old. What if a higher being developed a simulation with evolution being part of its lore, a natural result of the physics engine, and also a natural result of us rendering answers to the universe as we explore this plane of existence? The more we search, the more we find, whether it be the Hadron Collider smashing up subatomic particles smaller and smaller, or more simply, peering out into the universe itself. The process appears to entrench, if not exist, within the realm of infinity. The more we ask, the more we find, which naturally provides us with more questions, thus the process continues forever. What if we stopped looking at the game in front of us, but instead the philosophy dictating it? If this is a simulation, could God be analogous to a computer? Then, understanding that religious texts were given to our much simpler ancestors, they do not possess the same capacity to think that we have today. It is theorized that religions did initially cultivate our capacity to think via metaphor, which innately gave birth to our subjective reasoning. That basically means that if religion did not exist, neither would science, for it was that foot in the door that built our aptitude to reason in the first place. An irony, really. Religion gifted us the capacity to think, but as we learned to think, we debunked any possibility of magic. But as we learned more and more about the universe, its nature leads us back to magic once again. It's a very interesting cycle, which I'm sure will repeat itself within the human condition as infinitely as the rest of the universe. So as long as we survive, of course. You know, the thought of extinction is always on our mind, especially with the development of AI. So what do you gain understanding this? Everything, for it allows you to trust the great spiritual forces within yourself, even when, as a human, you cannot fully understand them. It is an energy harnessed by many kings before you, a magic that feels realer than anything. And so as long as you're willing to learn, make mistakes and grow, trust, it all exists to cultivate you into everything you feel you could be. Your path is yours individually. It is not my place to tell you what to believe in, but instead, what is observed to consistently work. Which, of course, is different amongst everyone. Even then, that is a formula uniquely based upon your individual condition in correlation to the ever-changing universe. To know the way, how to use your magic, I'll leave you with a bit of wisdom from Albert Einstein. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Trust your heart, your intuition, the magic you feel, but don't let it get untethered. As divine as your spirit may be, there are physics to this reality. Bring your mind with you, even if that means enduring pain. Because I promise, at the end of it, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. If you like more from me, please subscribe and hit the notifications. Thank you if you did. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. It's good karma. And until next time, peace.